everybody. How are you? Thank you for coming to see Hindle Wakes. This is the fourth of 5 shows we are doing in our first shelter-in-place season. And next up will be They Promise Her the Moon on June 27th and 28th. So make plans to be there for that. Let's see, what else I have for you. In this show, the actors will be at different locations, so you might notice that their backgrounds are different, the lighting is different, but nevertheless, they will do an amazing job for you, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy this show. In the end of Act 2, it's a 3-act show. At the end of Act 2, there'll be a 5-minute intermission, and we will do all we can to keep it to just 5 minutes. The third act is shorter, so don't be concerned that you're going to be here for 7 days. It's really actually well past halfway when we take our intermission. And at the end of the show, I will unmute everybody so you can applaud, have comments, or do whatever you'd like to do within reason. And I guess, oh yes, when you're on Zoom, if you are drinking, you are not drinking alone, so keep that in mind. Today, in honor of the show, I am drinking Earl Grey with lavender, very tasty. It's a little lavender liqueur, very fun thing. So with that, sit back and enjoy the show.
The scene is triangular, representing a corner of the living room of number 137 Burnley Road, Hindle, Lancashire, England, the Hawthorn house. The room is cheerful and comfortable. It is 9 o'clock on a warm August evening, 1910. Through the window can be seen the darkening sky, the only light, the dim twilight from the open window. Thunder is in the air, and Christopher and Mrs. Hawthorn are waiting.
It's passing over. There'll be no rain.
Aye, we could do with some rain. I want to look at that railway guide.
Aye, what's the good? We've looked at it twice already. There's no train from Blackpool.
Well, happens we made a mistake.
Happened we've not. What's the good of a railway guide? You know trains run on bank holiday. They don't run on bank holiday.
You don't think she'll come around by Manchester? You can get that road from Blackpool, you know.
Yeah, if she's coming from Blackpool.
Well, have you thought she may not come at all?
Oh, no use putting them sorts of ideas into your head.
Well, those are lucky haven't had the trouble at all on bank holiday.
Unless they've got a motor car like Nat Jeffcote's lad.
Nah, he's not got one. That's his father's. You don't catch Nat Jeffcote parting with Alt before his time. He holds that over his son's head, you might say, to keep the lad in check.
Alan Jeffcote's seldom short of cash, and he spends plenty.
Well, he can stop the supplies any time he likes.
Well, that's likely, isn't it?
Yeah, queer things have happened. You don't know Nat like I do. He's a bad one to get across with. Well, when I met Nat this morning, he told me Alan had telegraphed from Llandudno on Saturday asking for £20.
From Llandudno? And did he send it?
Of course he sent it. Nat doesn't stint with the lad, you know. Aye, but he can get through it, though.
Now, look here. What are you going to say to Fanny when she comes?
Well, I'll ask her where she's been.
Ask her where she's been? Of course we'll do that. But suppose she won't tell us.
She's always been a good girl.
She's always gone her own road. Suppose she tells us to mind our own business.
Well, I reckon it is my business to ask her where she's been.
And don't you forget it. And don't let her forget it either. And if you do, I promise you, I won't.
All right, all right. Yeah, where's that postcard?
Oh, little good they can eat of that now.
Shall be home before late on Monday. Lovely weather. North Pier, Blackpool. Very like too.
Well, let's have a look. When was it posted?
Well, it's dated Sunday.
Oh, that's not to go by. Anyone could put the wrong date. What's the postmark? August 5th.
Yeah, and that was Saturday. All right. There'd be only one post on Sunday.
Yeah, then she was in Blackpool up to yesterday, that's certain.
Aye.
Well, it's a mystery.
Yeah. Or something worse.
Hey, oh, don't think that, eh?
I don't know what to think.
Oh, no, me neither.
Hello?
Ah,
Well, you didn't expect me as soon as this, I'll bet. I came round by Manchester. They said the trains would run better that way tonight. Bank holiday, you know. I always think they let the Manchester train through before any of the others, don't you?
We didn't see how you were to get there past 10. We've been looking up the guide.
No, I wasn't for coming direct at any price. Mary wanted to.
Mary.
Oh, so Mary Ollins wanted to come back the other way, did she?
Yes, but I wasn't having any. They said the Manchester trains would be... I've told you that already.
So you've had a good time, Fanny?
Rather, a fair treat. What do you think?
Was Mary Ollins with you the whole time?
Of course she was.
She came back with you tonight. Where is she now?
She's gone home, of course. Where else should she go?
You telling lies, my girl.
What, Father?
You didn't spend the weekend in Blackpool with Mary Ollins.
All right, Chris, just wait a minute. Look here, Fanny. There's no use trying to make us believe you've been away with Mary.
What? I can bring any number of folk out of Hindle who saw us in Blackpool last week.
Bring them then.
How can I bring them tonight? They've most of them not come back yet.
Well, tell us who to ask then.
Ask Polly Birtwistle or Ethel Slater.
Fanny, it's no use. You may as well own up and tell us where you've been.
I've been to Blackpool with Mary Hollins. Why, I sent you a picture postcard on Sunday.
Yeah, we got it.
Look here. Who's been saying I didn't?
We know you didn't.
Now, where are you going?
Are you trying to hinder me from going out when I please now? I'm going to see Mary Hollins to fetch her here. You shall see her whether you like it or not.
Fanny, I've already seen Mary Ollins at Blackpool this morning. I went there with Jim Ollins.
Now, will you tell us where you've been?
No, I won't. I'll see Mary first. What did she say to you?
When I told thee I saw Jim Hollins at Blackpool, I didn't tell you quite everything, lass. Mary Ollins was drowned yesterday afternoon.
What?
It's one of them sailing boats. It was run over by an excursion steamer. There was only 20 people on board. 7 of them drowned.
Oh, my poor Mary.
Now then, Fanny.
Wait a bit, give her a chance.
Now then, Fanny. You see, you've been telling lies all the time.
Poor Mary.
And you weren't at Blackpool this weekend. Where were you?
Shan't tell you.
You went away for the weekend. Did you go alone? You didn't go alone, of course. Who did you go with?
Leave me alone, Mother.
Who did you go with? Did you go with a fellow? Yeah, you went with the chap.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you little liar. You did, and you know you did. Who was he?
This is what happens to a lass. I never thought it'd happen to one of mine, though.
Why didn't you get wed? If you were so curious, there's plenty would have had you.
Chance is a fine thing. Happen I wouldn't have had them.
Oh, there's not so many that will have you now if this gets about.
Well, he ought to wed her.
Well, of course he ought to wed her, and he shall too. Come now, who's the chap?
Leave me alone, can't you? You ought to be thankful he did take me away. It saved my life. I'd have been drowned with Mary if I hadn't gone to Llandudno.
Llandudno? Did you say...
My mother, that's exactly where Nate's boy...
Ah, be quiet, can't you? When you were in Llandudno, did you happen to run across Alan Jeffcote?
How did you know?
I didn't. You just told me.
Oh.
Well, what you think of it now?
Oh, Nate Jeffcote's lad. Nat and me were lads together. We were pals.
Well, now thy girl and Nat's lad are pals. Pull thyself together, man. Did he promise to wed you?
No.
Why not?
Never asked him.
You little fool. Have you no common sense at all? What did you do it for if you didn't make him promise to wed you?
Oh, let her be, mother.
Oh, she's damn stupid. When did you go? Did you go in this motor car? Ah, where'd you stay? Haven't you got a tongue in your head? Tell us exactly what took place.
I won't tell you anything more.
Oh, we'll see about that.
That's enough, mother. We'll leave her alone tonight. Now then, lass, stop that crying. Thou'd better get upstairs, happens thou tired out.
You are soft.
There's plenty of time to tackle her in the morning.
You'll have to waken up a bit if we're to make the most of this. You'll have to go and see Nathaniel Jeffcote.
I'll see him in the mill tomorrow.
No, tomorrow. You will see him tonight. Go up to the house at Banktop. If Alan's come home with Fanny, he'll be there as well. And you can kill two birds with one stone.
That's a nasty job.
It's got to be done, and the sooner the better. It's a fine chance, and don't you forget it.
A fine chance?
To get her wed, thou great stupid.
Yeah.
We're not going to be content with anything less. We'll show them up if they turn nasty.
Well, he ought to wed her. Oh, I don't know what Nat will say.
Oh, now look here, if you're not going to stand up for your rights, I'll come myself. I am not afraid of Nat Jeffcote, not if he owned 20 mills like Daisy Bank.
I'm not afraid of him neither. He's a bad man to tackle.
Yeah, I say. I wonder if she has done this on purpose. After all, plenty of girls have made good matches that way.
Well, she said she never mentioned marriage. You heard her.
Well, he might not have gone with her if she had. Happen she's cleverer than we think.
Yeah. She always was a deep one, you know.
The breakfast room at Nathaniel Jeffcote's house. The house is one of those great old-fashioned places standing in ample grounds that are to be found on the outskirts of the smaller Lancashire manufacturing towns. Nathaniel Jeffcote and his wife are sitting alone in the room.
I asked Mrs. Plews to let me have a look through Hindle Lodge today.
Hey, what was that?
I was thinking it would do very well for Alan when he gets married.
What, is Alan talking about getting married?
Well, Beatrice was just mentioning it last week.
Well, how long have they been engaged? A year?
No, 11 months.
Hmm.
Well, 11 months isn't so long after all. Let him wait a little longer. Although I thought we might be speaking for the lodge.
What do they want with a house like the lodge? Isn't there plenty of room here?
Really, Nat? They'll want a house of their own. It's only natural.
Well, there's no hurry as far as I can see. Alan won't be 25 till next March, will he?
You were only 22 when you married me.
I didn't marry a girl who'd been brought up like Beatrice Farrar. I married a girl who could help me make money. Beatrice won't do that. She'll have to spend it, likely.
Well, what's money for?
Money's power. That's why I like money. Why did I buy a motor car? Not because I wanted to go motoring. I hate it. No, I bought it so that people could see Alan driving about in it and say, there's Jeffcote's lad in his new car. It cost 500 quid. Tim Farrar was so keen on getting his knighthood for the same reason. Everybody knows that him and me started life in a weaving shed. See, that's why we like to have something to show them how well we've done. Houses and motors and knighthoods and fancy articles of the kind. I put a good deal of brass into our Alan, and Tim Farrar's put a deal into his Beatrice with just the same object in view.
I was wondering what you intend to do for Alan when he gets married.
Do for him? What do you mean?
Well, he doesn't get a regular salary, does he?
Has Alan been putting you up to talk to me about this?
Well, Nat, if he has.
Why can't he talk to me himself?
I dare say he thought I should do a better job than he would.
I don't keep him short, do I?
No, but Sir Timothy will expect him to show something more definite before the wedding.
Tim Farrar need not be afraid. I hope he'll leave his lass as much as I shall leave Alan. That lad will be the richest man in Hindle someday.
Oh, I dare say, someday. But that's not much good to set a house up on. Why don't you take him in as partnership?
Partnership? It mightn't work so well if he was his own master.
Well, if you gave him a junior partnership, he wouldn't be his own master. You'd see to that.
Hey, lass. I'd better come and marriage mill myself.
I shouldn't make a bad job of it, neither.
Oh, if you'll stop your worrying, I dare say I'll take the lad into partnership on his wedding day.
Can I tell Sir Timothy that?
If you like. I told him myself 6 months ago.
Oh, Dad! You are a caution, indeed you are. Why couldn't you tell me so at once instead of making me fool like this?
I like to hear thee talking, lass.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Hawthorn. Ada, let him in.
Good evening, Mrs. Jeffcote.
Well, Chris.
Well, not.
Yeah, sit you down. The rain's held off.
Aye.
Where have you been these weeks?
Nowhere.
What? Stopped at home?
Aye. You've not been away yourself either.
No, we went to Norway in June, you know.
Oh. Aye, so you did. That must have been a fine place, from the pictures.
Oh, Alan is away, though. We expect him back tonight.
Business is too bad to go away, Chris. I was down in Manchester. I landed 10 sets of those brown jackinets on Friday.
No, for the 44-inch looms.
Aye. And hark you, Chris. They're complaining about the tint. Not bright enough, they say in India. They've sent a pattern over this mail. You better have a look at it tomorrow. We've got to give them what they want, I reckon.
I don't think they know what they want in India.
You're about right there, Chris.
Hmm.
When are you going to bed, Mother?
Any time now. Are you going to sit up for Alan?
Why? Hasn't he got his latchkey?
Well, I expect so.
Then I reckon he'll be able to find the keyhole. And if he can't, he won't thank me for sitting up to welcome him.
Well, you do talk some nonsense, Nat. Good night, Mr. Hawthorn.
Oh, good night, Mrs. Jeffcote.
It's a long while since we've had a quiet chat together. We don't see as much of each other as we did 30 years ago.
No, I reckon you got other fish to fry, not.
I'm always right glad to see you. How long have you been taping for me, Chris?
Came to you in 95. I remember because Joe's Walmsley's shed had burnt down the same year.
You missed your way, Chris. You did indeed when you wouldn't come in with me and put your savings into Trafalgar Mill.
Well, that's what my missus is never tired of telling me.
You might have been my partner these 15 years instead of owning my slasher.
You'd never got on with a partner, Nat. You're too fond of your own way.
You're right there. Look here, old lad. You've come up here with a purpose, haven't you?
Well, that's so not.
Yeah, I could see that. I know you of old. What is it that's troubling you? Come on, get it off your chest.
It's about me lass. And we heard about her, you know.
What's she been doing?
Getting into trouble.
Oh, what sort of trouble?
Yeah, thou knows there's only one sort of trouble to get into.
Aye. We a lad? Then it's proper serious, like.
They've been away together, you know, these wakes.
Huh. She's a cool customer. What I going to do in matter?
That's what I came up to see thee about. I wasn't for coming tonight, but you know me missus. She was set on it.
Yeah, quite right too. I'll help thee any road I can, but you mustn't take it too much to heart. It's not the first time a job like this has happened in Hindle, and it won't be the last. There's many a couple living happy today as first come together in that fashion.
Where did you mean?
Aye, wedded, of course. Where else do you think I meant? Well, does the lad live in Hindle?
Aye.
Whose shed does he work at?
Well, since you put it that way, he works at yours.
Then, aye, gad, I'll have it out with him tomorrow. And if he doesn't promise to wed Fanny, I'll give him the sack.
Give him the sack.
Aye, and I'll go further. If he'll be a decent lad and make it right with her at once, I'll see that he's well looked after in the mill. We're old pals, Chris, and I can't do no fairer than that now, can I? Now then, who's the chap?
Thou'll be a bit surprised, like, I reckon.
Oh, spit it out.
It's thy lad, Alan.
My lad? But damn you, Chris Hawthorn. Why didn't you tell me the day before?
I was trying to tell thee not.
Try to tell me. Hast thou got a tongue in there that I'm going to sit there like a bundle of grey cloth while I'm making a fool of myself this road? Here, who's to say it's Alan?
Fanny.
Fanny, eh? How do
Well,
you know that she's not lying?
Well, you can settle it soon enough by asking Alan. I thought I had him here tonight. He's not come home yet.
No, and a good job for him too.
Well, what did he fetch Fanny back, think you?
Oh, Woody the Dickens. He's not altogether without sense. Do you think he'd run her in the car through Hindle Marketplace and up Burnley Road and set her down at your house for all folk to see?
No.
Oh, the bally young fool. I'd like to break his silly neck for him. And that lass of thine is just as much to blame as he is. I've marked her. Not bloody little wench.
I can't defend her. She was always a bit of a mystery to me and her mother, you know. There's that in her veins that just keeps her restless and uneasy. If she sees you want her to go one way, she'll go right out and do the other out of pure cussedness. She won't be driven, not by any road. I had a dog just like her once.
Hey, old lad. It's a good job you never had any boys if you don't know how to manage a girl.
Happens I could have managed lads better. Could never clout a girl properly.
I can manage my lad without clouting. Always could.
Yeah, folks are different, you see. Happens you couldn't have managed our Fanny.
I'd have made a damn good try. Where is she now?
At the house. She was overdone and I sent her to bed to get her out of range of me missus' tongue. Yeah, she was talking rather bitter like.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow at the mill. There's not more to be done tonight. I'm not going to let this business spoil a night's rest, and I'd advise you to look at it in the same light.
Well, I've not said all my missus told me to say, and I doubt she'd be on me track. But I reckon it's a bit too previous afore we've seen the lad.
If your wife wants to say anything to me, she's welcome. You You better fetch her up here tomorrow night. Oh, and bring Fanny along as well. I'll be ready for you by then. About 9 o'clock, do you understand?
Aye. Me wife said...
I can guess all that thy wife said. You can tell her this from me. I'll see you treated right. You hear?
I can't ask for more than that.
The same room 2 hours later.
That's it. Oh, hello. Thought you were in bed.
What are you making all this din about?
It's not my fault. You don't suppose I did it on purpose, do you?
I'll not have you coming in and raising Cain at this time of night. It's enough to waken the dead.
I can't help it. They go and stick that beastly thing up there. Can't blame me for knocking it over. It's not my fault. I can't help it.
You drunk?
You've never seen me drunk yet.
I've never seen thee near a drunk anyhow. I didn't drive the car home in this state, did you?
No fear. I left it at the George and Dragon in Hindle.
I see. You've been at George and Dragon. Didn't they chuck you out at 11?
Aye. Then we went round to the Liberal Club.
What's thou been up to these wakes?
Nothing. Why?
Has thou been with a girl?
No. Why?
Oh, how hardened young liar. Chris Hawthorn's been here tonight.
Chris Hawthorn?
Oh, cursed young fool. I could find it in my heart to take a strap to thee, so I could. Why haven't thou the sense to pay for thy pleasure instead of getting mixed up with a straight girl? I mean, I've never kept thee short of brass. And if thou must have a straight girl, I might have kept off one from the mill. Then alone, her father's one of my oldest friends.
What does he say?
Say? What dost thou think he said? Dost thou think he came up here to return thanks?
But how did he know?
The lass has told them, so it happens.
She promised not to.
Well, happens she did. And then what?
What's going to be done?
I'd see him treated right.
What'll they take?
I said I'd see them treated right. If thou expects I'm going to square it with a check and thou's going to slip away scot-free, thou's sadly mistaken.
What do you want me to do?
Oh, I know what thou's going to do. Thou's going to wed the lass.
Wed her? But I cannot. You know, Beatrice, I can't.
And when tell Beatrice it's off.
How can I do that?
Oh, that's thy lookout. It's a pity thou didn't think of that before they went to Llandudno.
But what can I tell her?
I must tell her the truth if I can't find out better to say.
The truth?
What's done is done. We've got to stand by it.
Father, I don't want to wed Fanny. I want to wed Beatrice.
Dost thou love Beatrice?
Yes.
I'm glad of it. It's right that thou should suffer as well as her.
Father, they'll not make me do it. They'll not make me do it. I cannot. I'd have all the folk in Hindle laughing at me.
Oh, come now. Pull yourself together.
Aye. It's easy talking that road.
So thou thinks it's easy for me to see thy wed Fanny Hawthorn? Hearken. Dost know how I began in life? Dost know that I started as tenter at Walmsley's shed when I were 8 years of age, and that when the time comes, I shall leave the biggest fortune ever made in the cotton trade in Hindle? Dost thou know what my thought has been when labouring these 30 years to get all that brass together? Not what pleasure I could get out of spending, but what power and influence I was piling up the while. Dost thou think as I weren't right glad when thou goes and gets engaged to Tim Farrar's lass? Tim Farrar, as were mayor of Hindle and got knighted when the king came to open the new town hall? Tim Farrar that owns Lane End Shed, next biggest place to Daisy Bank in Hindle. Why, it were the dearest wish of my heart to see thee wed Tim Farrar's lass, and to see thee running both mills afore I died. And now what falls out? Lad as I'd looked to keep on the tradition and build the business bigger still, goes and weds one of my own weavers. Dost thou think that's no disappointment to me? Hearken, I'd put down 10,000 quid if thou could honestly wed Beatrice Farrar. But thou can't honestly wed her. Not if I put down 1 million. There's only one lass that thou can honestly wed now, and that's Fanny Hawthorn, and by God, I'm going to say that thou does it.
The breakfast room at the Jeffcote's house, shortly after 8 p.m. the following day.
I've got something to say to you.
Why couldn't you say it whilst we were having tea?
It's not quite the sort of thing to say before the servant.
Why? Nat, what is it?
Last night you were talking of taking Hindle Lodge for Alan.
Oh, yes, I was going to call on Mrs. Blues this afternoon, but it came on wet.
Don't go.
Why not?
There's no need.
Surely, Nat, you've not changed your mind again. I mentioned it to Beatrice only a week ago.
Happen you did. Alan's not going to marry Beatrice.
Not going to marry. Why? Oh, have they quarrelled? Oh, Nat, what is it? What has happened?
To put it in a nutshell, Alan's not going to marry Beatrice because another girl has a better right to him.
But how can that be? He's been engaged to Beatrice for nearly a year.
Aye. He's only been engaged to Beatrice. With the other girl, he's gone a step further.
He's not gone and got wed already.
No, he's not gone got wed. He's dispensed with a ceremony. Did we out?
Oh,
Aye. He spent last weekend with a girl at Landudno.
oh, the creature! Why are such women allowed to exist?
Oh, Mum, that's me another. I've never looked on it upon that light before.
And at Landudno, too. Of all places. I've been there many a time. I shall never be able to fancy it again, and I'm so fond of that place.
Oh, that's a pity. Happen you'll get over the feeling when they're married.
But Nat, Alan cannot marry a woman of that sort.
She's not a woman of that sort. She's a straight girl. Well, you know what I mean. It's not been a matter of business with her.
I don't see that makes things any better. There might have been some excuse for her had it been a matter of business. Really, Nat, you must see that the woman is not fit to marry Alan.
Not even when our son's the man she's been away with.
But that has nothing to do with the case. It is evident that she is a girl with absolutely no principles.
Oh, dash it all. At that same rate, some folk might say that Alan's not fit to marry her because of what he's done.
Well, if you can't see the difference... I'm surprised at you, Nat. I really am. You seem to take a delight in being perverse and making difficulties.
Upon my soul, Mother, I'd no idea thou were such an unscrupulous one before. Don't you want to do what's right?
Can't you offer the girl some money?
Would you think that right treatment?
Oh, she wouldn't object. She'd jump at the chance.
Shall I tell you who she is?
That won't make me much wiser, for I don't suppose I've ever heard her name before. I'm sure nobody I know would do a thing like this.
Well, she's not exactly a friend of yours, but her father is a very old friend of mine, Christopher Hawthorn, and the lass is his daughter, Fanny.
Fanny Hawthorn? Do you mean to tell me the lad's going to marry one of our weavers? Nat, you must be out of your senses. Why, all the folk in India will be laughing at us.
Anything else?
Well, I should just think I've got something else. What about Timothy Farrar, for instance? Have you thought of what he'll say? And then there's Beatrice.
Aye. I'm right sorry for that girl.
Does Beatrice know yet?
No. I told Alan we'd go up to Farrar's tonight and have it out with him.
Perhaps he's there now.
Nay, he's not back from Manchester yet. He was stopping later because Raleigh had just got a cable from India and it wasn't translated when I left. Business before pleasure, Mother.
Well, then, thank goodness. It's not too late. This affair has got to be stopped.
Now, old lass, don't thou start meddling in what doesn't concern thee.
Well, that's a nice thing. It concerns me as much as it does you. I've a right to have my say when it comes to a wife for Alan, and I am not going to give way without a struggle for a girl like Fanny Hawthorn.
Oh, come now. What's wrong with her after all?
She's a girl without any character.
I should say she's a girl with a good deal of character.
The wrong sort.
How do you know that? We don't know what made her go away with Alan.
I do. It was one of two things. Either she is thoroughly wicked, or else she was simply trying to make him marry her. And whichever it was, it is evident that she is not a fit wife for Alan.
Alan should have thought of that earlier.
Oh, you are taking this much too serious view of this affair. That you really are indeed. Mind you, I'm not defending what Alan has done. I'm as shocked as anyone, and I know it's a sin, and a grievous one at that. What puzzles me is how he could do it. I wonder what made him. I don't know where he got it from. He certainly didn't get it from my side of the family.
Oh, Apney got it from Adam. We can't overlook these sort of things in Lancashire, the same as we can in the Garden of Eden.
If you can't overlook it altogether, there is no reason why you should want to punish the lad like this. It's just cruelty, that's what it is. Make him marry a girl out of the mill.
Oh, you mean she's beneath him?
Of course she's beneath him.
It's queer what short memories some folks have. What was my father, I should like to know? And I'm too, if it comes to that. Why, I wore clogs myself until I was past 20.
Yes, and if you don't look out, your grandson will wear them again. Don't forget the old saying, it's only 3 generations between clogs and clogs.
A man may wear worse things than clogs. They're grand tackle for keeping their feet out of the wet.
Don't talk foolishly, Nat. I know as well as you do that before you die, you were hoping to see Alan a big man. Member for Hindle, perhaps? Now, you know as well as I do what a wife like Fanny Hawthorn would be a hindrance to him or not.
If a man's wife gets in the road of his career, then his career will have to suffer.
And everyone knows what that means. He'll be blaming her all the time for standing in his light. And so his home life will be as ruined as well.
Oh, marriage is a ticklish business anyhow. There's always a chance of a bust-up.
Chance indeed. It's as sure as fate if Alan marries Fanny. And you know that. They'll be separated within 5 years. We've seen cases like this before.
And shall again, I've little doubt.
Well, I'll be no party to it anyhow. It shan't be said that I didn't lift my voice against the wedding.
Oh, look, there's the front door. It'll be Alan. Oh, come now, Mother. Don't make a scene.
Oh, it's Timothy Farrar and Beatrice. Ada put them in the drawing room. Dear me, Nat, this is very awkward. Why doesn't Alan come home?
It's a shame to face his mother, Happen.
Oh, he should know his mother better than that.
Then he's trying to drive it too late to go up to Farrar's tonight.
Oh.
Very well. He's reckoned out his dad. If he's too much of a coward to face the music himself, I'll do it for him.
What are you going to do?
Just go and send Tim Farrar in here while you keep Beatrice company in the other room.
Oh, what should I say to Beatrice?
Say nout.
But I can't talk to her as if nothing has happened. It would be like deceiving her, and I'm not cut out for a hypocrite.
All right. Tell her everything. She'll have to know sometime. I'll do, Tim.
How do, Nat?
Aye, sit you down. So they've made you chairman of Hindle Education Committee, Tim.
Aye, why not? Thou knows I were the right man for the job.
Thou's not done much studying since thou were 8 years of age.
Happen I haven't. But I'm going to take damn good care that Hindle New Technical School is the finest in Lincolnshire or Yorkshire, either, if it comes to that.
Why not the finest in England while you're about it?
Well, if it's the finest in Lincolnshire and Yorkshire, it goes without saying it's finest in England. They don't know how to spend money on them in the South. Besides, what should they want with technical schools in them parts? They don't make anything to speak of.
Yeah, they're a poor lot, it's true.
Where's the lad?
Oh, not got home yet.
Well, Beatrice were expecting him to telephone all day, but he didn't. So as soon as we be done eating, she were on pins and needles to look him up.
He was coming round to your place tonight.
Oh, I told the lass he'd be sure to. She hasn't seen him for 10 days. Thou knows. That seems a long time when it's before the wedding. It doesn't seem so long afterwards. And that reminds me, have thou seen the Winning Post this week?
Nay, I rarely look at it.
Well, there's a tale in it this week. It'll suit thee down to the ground.
Hold on a bit. There's something I've a mind to tell you.
Well, let me get mine off my chest first. It's about a fellow who took a girl away for the weekend.
So's mine.
Oh, it's the same, Auntie.
Nay, it isn't. Mine's true.
True, is it? Well, let's hear it. Who's the fellow?
It's a chap out of Hindle.
What? Who's been giving me away?
Eh?
I say, who's been giving me away?
Thee? That was giving thyself away, Tim Farrar. I wasn't talking about thee at all.
I thought that someone had seen us at Brighton. I don't mind thee knowing, but if the wrong person gets a hold of that sort of thing, all Hindle is apt to hear about it. Well, who's the chap?
Our Alan.
What? The young devil? I'd like to give him a real good hiding.
Oh, come. Thou art a nice man to talk after what I've just learned.
Well, hang it all, it's different with me. I'm not engaged to be wed. Why, I haven't even got a wife living. Young beggar. I'll talk pretty straight to him.
Perhaps you'll choose to tell Beatrice yourself.
Why? What's it got to do with her?
Well, someone will have to tell her. She'll have to know sooner or later.
God bless thy soul, Nat Jeffcote. Hast thou told thy missus everything thou did before thou got wed? Oh, I always thought there was somewhat queer about thee, Nat. Well, I'm not going to have Bea told of this affair, and that's flat. It's all over and done with.
It's not all over. You don't understand. This girl is a decent girl, thou knows. Daughter of Chris Hawthorn.
What? Him as slashes for thee? I've seen her. A sulky-looking wench. Well, I cannot see what difference it makes who the girl was. I reckon Alan's not going to marry her.
That's just what he is going to do.
What? But he's going to marry my Beatrice.
If he does, he'll be out for bigamy.
Do you mean to say he's going to throw her over?
Oh, there's no need to put it like that.
Well, there's no other way to put it if he's going to marry Fanny Hawthorn.
What else can he do?
It's only a question of money.
Have you forgotten who she is?
She's one of thy weavers. That'll cost thee a little trifle more.
She's the daughter of one of my oldest friends.
I'm one of thy oldest friends likewise. What about my lass? Have you thought what a fool she'll look?
I'm sorry, but the other girl must come first. I think well enough of Beatrice to know she'll see it in that light when it's put to her.
And who's going to put it to her, I should like to know?
Well, you can put it to yourself if you've a mind.
Dang it! It's a nice awkward thing to talk to a lass about. Here, before I go any further with this job, I want to see Alan and know for certain what he's going to do.
Oh, he'll do what I tell him.
Oh, I doubt it. I know he's a fool, but I don't think he's such a fool as all that. Well, talk of the devil.
Oh, Sir Timothy. Has Bee come with you?
She's with your mother in the drawing room. You're very late.
I got something to eat in Manchester.
Now then, what's all this I hear tell about thee?
Have you been telling him? It was my business.
It was your business, right enough. But if I'd have left it to you, it wouldn't have been done. I can see that you weren't going up to Farrar's tonight.
Oof, no, I wasn't. And that's just why you hadn't any right to tell Sir Timothy.
Oh, you young fool. What was the good of hanging back? Sir Timothy got to be told sometime, I reckon.
Happen it would be better if you'd stick to what concerns you in the future.
What the deuce dost thou mean talking to me that road?
Here, hold on a bit, Nat Jeffcote. Stop shouting the lad down. I want to hear what he's got to say.
If father hadn't opened his mouth, there'd be no call to say anything. Wasn't me who started to make difficulties.
Oh, I bet it wasn't. You'd have let the thing slide.
I'd have tried to settle it.
Oh, then I take it thou's no desire to wed Fanny Hawthorn.
I don't think it's necessary.
No more do I.
I thought we had this out last night. Were you so drunk that you couldn't take in what I said?
No.
Then why did you not speak out then?
You never gave me the chance. You did all the talking yourself.
I'd be ashamed to say that. I'd like to see the man as could shut my mouth when I'd had too much to drink. Thou couldn't do it, Nat, fond of shouting as thou art.
He's not your father.
Art afraid of him?
No.
Then stand up to him. I'll back thee up.
I've told him. I'm not going to wed Fanny. What more does he want?
You've made up your mind?
Yes.
Very well. I've rarely been beat up to now, and I'm not going to be beat by my own lad.
Hang it all, Nat. Thou cannot take him by the scruff of the neck and force him to wed what he doesn't want to.
No, that's true. And no one can force me to leave my brass where I don't want to.
Thou's not serious.
I am that.
Thou wouldn't care to leave Daisy Bank outside the family?
It wouldn't go outside family if I left it to his cousin Travis.
Ooh, thou art a queer chap, Nat.
So it comes to this. If I don't marry Fanny, you'll leave your brass to Travis?
That's it.
I see. And would Travis be expected to take Fanny over along with the mill?
Why, you...
Very well. Leave it to Travis. I'm going to stick to Beatrice. Not such a fool that I can't earn my own living.
What you'll learn won't go very far if you keep a girl like Beatrice.
Beatrice and I can manage like you and Mother did.
No, you can't. You haven't been brought up to it.
Then Sir Timothy will help us.
Sir Timothy? Oh, aye. Oh, I'd like to hear what Tim Farrar thinks of the situation now.
It's not straight of thee, Nat. Thou made it very awkward for me.
Oh, like that. You said you'd back me up.
Oh, I'll back thee up all right. But there's no good losing our tempers over this job, thou knows. I don't want to see a split twixt thee and thy father.
If I don't mind, I don't see why you should.
Lord bless thee. If thou art bent on a row, have it thine own way. But thy father's one of my oldest friends. and think on. I'm not going to part from him for thy sake.
You're trying to draw out now.
I'll stand in at anything in reason, but I'll not be party to a buster. Besides, now I come to think of it, I'm not sure thou's treated my Beatrice right. No, I'm not. When a chap's engaged, he ought to behave himself. And the way thou's been carrying on, thou might be married already.
Look here, you knew all this 5 minutes ago when you told me to stand up to my father. What's happened to change you?
Well, thou's very much mistaken if thou thinks I've changed my mind because thy father's leaving the mill to thy cousin Travis. I'm not the man to do that sort of thing. Besides, what do I care about thy father's brass? I'm worth as much as he is.
That's a lie, Tim Farrar.
A lie or not, I'm worth enough to be able to snap my fingers at thy brass. I'll not see my lass insulted by thy lad. Not if thou were 10 times as rich as thou makes out.
Don't you see,
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You're only trying to draw a red herring across the track.
Be damned, that's the tale.
It's right.
Dost take me for a mean beggar?
No, I take thee for a businessman. I never think of thee as aught else.
Dost tell me thou can believe I don't wish Alan to marry Bee just because of what thou said about leaving thy brass?
I do.
Well, and why not?
Don't ask me. I don't object.
aren't you ashamed to say that?
No. And if thou'd been weaving as long as I have, thou wouldn't either. Thou's got to keep an eye on the main chance.
But you've got plenty of money yourself. Quite enough for the two of us.
Well, blow me if thou aren't the best businessman of the lot. Thou comes along and asks me for my daughter and my money, and what dost thou offer in return? Now but thyself. Well, it isn't good enough, lad.
Good enough or not, it's the best I can do.
That won't do for me.
I shan't bother about you.
Eh? What's that?
I don't want to marry you. I shall leave it to Beatrice.
Well, Bee will do what I tell her. Thou can take that from me.
No, thanks. I'll ask her myself. I don't care a hang for the pair of you. I'm going to stick to Beatrice if she'll have me, and you can cut us off without a shilling if you've a mind to, both of you.
Hang it. Thou knows I cannot do that with my Bee. I call it taking a mean advantage of me. That I do.
Why cannot you cut off your lass?
Well, thou knows well enough that I cannot.
I could.
Oh, I don't doubt it. But thank God I'm not like thee, Nat Jeffcote. I sometimes think thou's got a stone where thy heart is by right.
Happen I've got a pair of scales.
Huh, that's naught to boast of. I'd as soon have the stone.
Beatrice wants to speak to you, Alan.
Now, my lass, I'd like to have a word with thee first.
Please, Father.
Come into the drawing room, Sir Timothy. You could smoke there, you know.
A bit thick.
I'll overlook all you said tonight if you'll be guided by me. But it's your last chance, mind.
All right.
Never fancied your cousin Travis.
Alan.
So they've told you.
Yes.
Perhaps it is as well. I should have hated telling you.
Alan, why did you?
I don't know. It was her lips.
Her lips.
Suppose so.
I see.
I'm not a proper cad, Bee. I haven't been telling her one tale and you another. It was all an accident, like.
You mean it wasn't arranged?
No, indeed, it wasn't. I shouldn't like you to think that, Bee. I ran across her at Blackpool.
You didn't go to Blackpool to meet her?
No, on my oath, I didn't. I went there in the car with George Ramsbottom.
What became of him?
Oh, him? George is a pal. He made himself scarce.
Just as you would have done, I suppose, if he had been in your place.
Of course. What else can a fellow do? Two's company, you know. But old George would be all right. I dare say he picked something up himself.
You knew her before you met her at Blackpool?
Of course. There's not so many pretty girls in Hindle that you can miss one like Fanny Hawthorn. I knew her well enough, but on the straight, mind you. I thought she looked gay, that was all. I'd hardly spoken to her before I ran into her at the tower at Blackpool.
So you met her at the tower?
Yes. We just had dinner at the Metropole Grill, George and I, and I dare say we drunk about as much champagne as was good for us. And we looked into the tower, you know, just for a lark, and we ran into Fanny in the ballroom, and she had a girl with her, this a Mary something or another, I forget. And anyhow, George took Mary on, and I went with Fanny.
Yes.
The next day, I got her to come with me in the car, and we went to Llandudno.
Yes.
There's not much more to say.
And I've got to be satisfied with that?
What else do you want me to tell you?
Didn't you ever think of me?
Yes, Bee. Suppose I did. But you weren't there, you see, and she was, and that's what did it. Being near her and looking at her lips. And then I forgot everything else. Oh, I know. I'm a beast. I couldn't help it. I suppose you can never understand. It's just too much to expect you to see the difference.
Between me and Fanny?
Yes. Fanny's she was just an amusement, a lark, and I thought of her as a girl to have a bit of fun with. And going off with her was like going off and getting tight for once in a way. You wouldn't care for me to do that, but if I did, you wouldn't think very seriously about it. You wouldn't want to break off the engagement for it. I wonder if you can look on this affair of Fanny as something like getting tight, only worse. I'm ashamed of myself, but just as I should be if you caught me drunk, and I can't defend myself. I feel just an utter swine, and what I felt for Fanny was simply base, horrible.
And how have you always thought of me?
Oh, Bee, what I felt for you was something higher, finer.
Was it? Or are you only trying to make yourself believe that?
No, I respected you.
I wonder which feeling a woman would rather arouse. And I wonder which is most like love.
All the time, Bee. I've never loved anyone else but you.
You say so now, but how am I to know? You have given Fanny the greater proof.
I'm trying to show you that Fanny was one thing, you were another. Can't you understand that a fellow may love one girl and amuse himself with another?
I think I can. We were different kinds of women on separate planes. It didn't matter to the one how you treated the other.
That's it. Going away with Fanny was just a fancy, sort of freak.
But you have never given me a proof half as great as that.
Haven't I? I'll give it to you now. You know that Father says I'm to marry Fanny?
Your mother told me he wished it.
Wished it? He set his mind on it. He won't leave me a farthing unless I marry her.
What did you tell him?
Well, if you can't guess that, you haven't much confidence in me.
That's hardly my fault, is it?
No. Well, I told him I'd see him damned first. Or words to that effect.
You did?
Yes. Is that good enough for you, Bee? You wanted proof that it's you I love? I've chucked away everything I've had to expect in the world rather than give you up. Isn't that good enough for you?
Alan.
Bee, in a way, I've been faithful to you all the time. I tried hard enough to forget about you, but I couldn't. And often I thought about you. Sometimes I thought about you when I was kissing Fanny. I tried to pretend she was you. She'd never guessed, of course. She thought it was her I was kissing, but it wasn't. It was you. Oh, the awfulness of having another girl in my arms and wanting you. Oh, me. Although I shan't have a penny. I'll get to work, though. I'll work for you. You won't have any cause to reproach me. If only you'll stick to me. If only you'll tell me you'll forgive me.
Could you have forgiven me if I had done the same to you?
But you couldn't do it.
Fanny Hawthorn did.
She's not your class.
She's a woman.
That's just it. It's different with a woman.
Yet you expect me to forgive you. It doesn't seem fair.
It isn't fair, but it's usual.
It's what everybody agrees to.
You always say that you're not one of these advanced women. You ought to agree to it as well.
I do. I can see that there is a difference between men and women in cases of this sort.
You can.
Men haven't so much self-control.
Don't be cruel, Bee. There's no need to rub it in.
I'm not being personal, Alan. I'm old-fashioned enough to really see that there is that difference. You see, men have never had to exercise self-control like women have. And so I'm old-fashioned enough to be able to forgive you.
To forgive me and marry me in spite of what has happened and in spite of your father and mine.
I care nothing for my father or yours. I care a good deal about what has happened. And I think it shows that you need me more than I need you. For I do need you, Alan. So much that nothing on earth could make me break off our engagement if I thought it was at all possible to let it go on. But it isn't. It's impossible.
Impossible? Why do you say that? Of course it's not impossible.
Yes, it is. Because to all intents and purposes, you are already married.
No, Bee.
You say I'm old-fashioned. Old-fashioned people used to think that when a man treated a girl as you have treated Fanny, it was his duty to marry her.
You're not going to talk to me like father, Bee.
Yes. But with your father, it is only a fad. You know it isn't that with me. I love you, and I believe you love me. And yet I am asking you to give me up for Fanny. You may be sure that only the very strongest reasons could make me do that.
Reasons? Reasons? Don't talk to me about reasons when you're doing a thing like this.
You may not be able to understand my reasons. You have always laughed at me because I go to church and believe things that you don't believe.
I may have laughed, but I've never tried to interfere with you.
Not I with you. We mustn't begin it now, either of us.
Is this what your religion leads you to? You call it a Christian thing to leave me in the lurch with Fanny Hawthorn? When I need you so much more than I've ever done before.
I don't know. It's not for me to argue about. I was born to look at things just in the way I do, and I can't help believing the things I do.
And what you believe comes before me?
It comes before everything. Alan, promise me that you'll do what I wish.
You love me.
If I love anything on earth, I love you.
And you want me to marry Fanny?
Yes. Oh, Alan, can't you see what a splendid sacrifice you have it in your power to make? Not only to do the right thing, but to give up so much in order to do so. Alan, promise me.
Very well.
You have sufficient courage and strength.
I'll do what you ask, but only because I can see that your talk is all humbug. You don't love me. You're shocked by what I did, and you're glad to find a good excuse for getting rid of me. All right, I understand.
You don't understand.
You might have spared me all the goody-goody business. You don't care for me a bit.
Alan, you don't know what this is costing me.
Me, you're talking nonsense. Can't give me up. Can't give me up, however much you try.
You don't know me. I can. I will. I shall never be your wife.
Hello.
9 o'clock.
What of it?
Hawthorns are due up here at 9.
Well, fixed it up, eh?
Alan and I are not going to be married, Father.
I'm sure it's all for the best, lass.
Are you quite ready, Father? I want you to take me home. I'll write to you, Alan.
So, you thought better of it?
Seems so.
Not a good lad, Alan. I'm right pleased with thee. What's the matter?
Nothing, Father.
The breakfast room a few minutes later. Mrs. Hawthorn, Christopher, and Fanny have arrived.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, here we are, all of us. We know what brought us together. It's not a nice job, but it's got to be gone through, so we may as well get to business right away.
Aye.
And we don't need to say out about what's happened, do we?
No, I don't see as we need.
No.
Excuse me. I think we do. I know hardly anything of what has happened.
It's admitted by them both.
But what is admitted by them both? It's rather important to know that.
Ah, you're hoping that we won't be able to prove out against Alan. You think that'll happen, he'll be able to wriggle out of it.
No, there'll be no wriggling out. Alan's got to pay what he owes, and I don't think there's any doubt about what that is. It's true, I've only heard his version. What's Fanny told you?
Nout.
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 How's that?
She's turned stupid, that's why.
I'll have to have a go at her then. It seems my lad met you one night in Blackpool and asked you to go to Llandudno with him.
Yes, what then?
He was drunk.
No, he wasn't what you'd call drunk.
Near as mate's not better, I'll bet.
Anyhow, he was sober enough next morning when we went away.
And where did you stay at Llandudno? Did he take you to an hotel?
Now then, Fanny.
Come on, lass, open that mouth.
All right, Father. I'll answer for Fanny. We stopped at St. Elvy's Hotel, Saturday to Monday.
What did you stop as?
Man and wife.
Ah,
You'll find it in the register if you go there and look it up.
There. Are you satisfied?
Quite. Thank you, Nat. That was all I wanted to know. I didn't want there to be any mistake.
There's one thing that's bothering me. It's that postcard. It was posted in Blackpool on Sunday. I don't see how you managed it if you left on Saturday.
I wrote it beforehand and left it for Mary to post on Sunday morning.
so Mary was in all this?
If Mary hadn't been drowned, you'd never have found out about it. I'd never have opened my mouth, and Alan knows that.
Well, Mary got her reward, poor lass.
Yeah, there's more in this than chance, it seems to me.
The ways of the Lord are mysterious and wonderful. We can't pretend to understand them. He used Mary as an instrument for his purpose.
If he did, it seems cruel hard on Mary, like. However, it's all over and done with and can't be mended now, worse luck. These two young ones have made fools of themselves, and that don't matter so much. The worst feature of it is, they made a fool of me, and we've got to decide what's to be done. I gave Chris a message for you last night.
Yeah, and you said how you'd see us treated right.
That's it, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, what do you reckon is the right way to settle this job?
Well, he ought to marry her. I'll never be satisfied without less.
And that's your idea too, Chris?
Aye.
It's mine as well. Before I knew who this chap was, I said he should wed her, and I'm not going back now that I find out it's my own son. The missus there doesn't see it in the same light, but she'll have to make the best of it. She's in a minority of one, as they say.
Then we may take it that Alan's agreeable.
Whether he's agreeable or not, I cannot say. He's willing, and that'll have to be enough for you.
You'll excuse me for mentioning it, but what about the other girl?
What other girl? Has he been carrying on with another one as well?
She means Beatrice. Alan was engaged to Miss Farrar.
Yeah, that's it. What about her?
Oh, that's off now. No need to talk of that.
Oh, the lad's no longer engaged to her.
And he's quite free to wed our Fanny.
He is as far as we know.
Oh, then the sooner it's done, the better.
We've only got to get the license.
I'm sure we're very grateful.
Yes, we are indeed. Though, of course, it's only what we'd right to expect.
I'm sure, Mrs. Jeffcote, that you try and look more kindly on Fanny in time.
I hope I shall, Mr. Hawthorn. Perhaps it's all for the best. More unlikely matches have turned out all right in the end.
I'm sure there's nothing Fanny can be said against Fanny, save that she's got a will of her own. And after all, there's many of us that have that.
She's always been a good girl up to now. You can put your trust in her, Alan.
Well, it's evidently high time that Alan got wed. That's all I can say. And it may well be as to a girl like Fanny as anyone else. She's had to work the loom for her living, and that does no woman any harm. My missus has worked at the loom in a time, though you'd never think that to look at her now. And if Fanny turns out half as good as her, Alan won't have done so badly. Now, we've got to settle when wedding's going to be.
What sort of wedding is it to be?
Well, you women had better fix that up.
Well, it ought to be quiet.
Oh, it'll be quiet. You can lay your shirt on that. We shan't hold a reception at the town all this journey.
I should prefer it to take place at the registrar's.
No, I'll never agree to that. Not on any account.
Why not?
No, in a church, if you please, with the bands and everything. There's been enough irregular work about this job already. We'll have it done properly this time.
I should like to hear what Fanny says.
Fanny will do what's thought best for her.
Anyhow, we'll hear what she thinks about it, if you please.
I was just wondering where I come in.
Where you come in? You're a nice one to talk. You'd have been in a fine mess happen if you had not us to look after you. You ought to be very thankful to us all instead of sitting there hard like.
You better leave it to us, lass. We'll settle this job for you.
It's very good of you. You'll hire the parson and get the license and make all the arrangements on your own without consulting me. And I shall have nothing to do save turn up meek as a lamb at the church or registry office or whatever it is.
That's about all you'll be required to do.
You'll look rather foolish if that's just what I won't do.
Don't talk silly, Fanny.
What does she mean by that?
Nothing.
You'll not turn stupid now.
Nothing. I beg your pardon. I will heed her, if you please. We'll see what she means by that.
Hark you, lass. I'm having no hanky-panky work now. You'll have to do what you're bid, or maybe you'll find yourself in the cart.
Yes, Fanny, don't turn stupid right now.
It doesn't suit me to let you settle my affairs without so much as consulting me.
Consulting you? What is there to consult you about? I'd like to know. You want to marry Alan. I suppose in all we're talking about is the best way to bring it about.
That's just where you make the mistake. I don't want to marry Alan. And what's more, I haven't the least intention of marrying him.
Oh, she's taken leave of her senses.
Now then, what the devil do you mean by that?
I mean what I say. And I'll trouble you to talk to me without swearing at me. I'm not one of the family yet.
Well, I'm hanged.
Well, why won't you wed him? Have you got something against him?
That's my affair.
But you must give us a reason.
It's no good talking to her when she's in this mood. She won't open her mouth, no, not if she was going to be hung.
Does thou mean to tell me that all us folks are to stand here and let this girl beat us?
Fanny will get her own way.
Ah, we'll see.
But why shouldn't she have her own way? I don't think we have any right to press her. I don't really.
All you're after is to get Alan out of the Owleys in. You don't care about our Fanny.
I'm sorry for Fanny, but of course I care more about my own child.
Well, and so do we.
After all, she knows better than we whether she wants to marry Alan.
Now then, Alan, what's the meaning of this?
Oh, no, Father.
You've not been getting at her today and wheedling her into this.
Good Lord, no. What would have been the good of that? Besides, I never thought of it.
Well, I can't account for it.
Look here, Father, just let me have a talk to her alone. It's not likely she'd care to speak with all you folks sitting around.
Do you reckon she'll open her mouth to you?
I can try, though it's true she never takes much notice of what I say.
I'll give you 15 minutes. If thou can't talk her last man in that time, thou ought to be jolly well ashamed of thyself. I know I could have done it when I was thy age. Mother, you better show Chris and his missus to other room for a bit.
Will you come this way, please?
Fanny, think on what you're doing. For God's sake, have a bit of common sense.
15 minutes. And if you're not done by then, they'll come in ready or not.
Look here, Fanny, what's all this nonsense about?
What nonsense?
Why won't you marry me? Your father's serious enough. He means it when he says he wants you to. He's as stupid as a mule when he gets an idea into his head.
As if I didn't know that. He's like you, for that matter.
Well then, what are you afraid of?
Afraid? Who says I'm afraid?
I don't see what else it could be.
You can't understand a girl not jumping at you when she gets the chance, can you?
I can't understand you not taking me when you get the chance.
How is it that you aren't going to marry Beatrice Farrar?
You can't marry both of you.
Weren't you fond of her?
Very.
But you were fonder of me, eh?
Well.
Come now. You must have been, or you wouldn't have given her up for me.
I gave her up because my father made me.
Made you? Good Lord, a chap of your age.
My father's a man who will have his own way.
You can tell him to go and hang himself. He hasn't got any hold over you.
That's just what he has. He can keep me short of brass.
Earn some brass.
I can earn some brass, but it'll take hard work and it'll take time. And after all, I shan't earn anything like what I get now.
Then all you want to wed me for is what you'll get with me? I'm to be given away with a pound of tea, as it were.
No, you know I like you, Fanny. I'm fond of you.
You didn't give up Beatrice Farrar because of me, but because of the money.
If it comes to that, I didn't really give her up at all. I may as well be straight with you. It was she that gave me up.
What did she do that for? Her father's plenty of money, and she can get round him, I'll bet, if you can get round yours.
She gave me up because she thought it was her duty to.
You mean because she didn't fancy my leaving?
No, because she thought you had the right to marry me.
Glory, she must be queer.
It was jolly fine of her. You ought to be the first to see that.
Fine to give you up. Well, I reckon it was a sacrifice of a sort. That is, if she loves you. If I loved a chap, I wouldn't do that.
You would. You're doing it now.
Eh?
Women are more unselfish than men. Make no mistake.
What are you getting at?
I know why you won't marry me.
Do you? Well, spit it out, lad.
You're doing it for my sake.
How do you make that out?
You don't want to spoil my life.
Thanks, much obliged to the compliment.
I'm not intending to say anything unkind, but of course it's clear as daylight that you'd damage my prospects and all that sort of thing. You can see that, can't you?
I can see it now you point it out. I hadn't thought of it before.
Then why is it you refused me?
Sorry to disappoint you, but it's not.
I didn't see what else it could be.
Don't you kid yourself, my lad. It isn't because I'm afraid of spoiling your life that I'm refusing you, but because I'm afraid of spoiling mine. That didn't occur to you.
It didn't.
You never thought that anybody else could be as selfish as yourself.
I may well be very conceited, but I don't see how you can hurt yourself by wedding me. You'd come in for plenty of brass, anyhow.
I don't know as money's much to go by when it comes to a job of this sort. It's more important to get the right chap.
You like me well enough.
Suppose it didn't last. Weddings brought about this road have a knack of turning out badly. Would you ever forget it was your father bade you marry me? No fear, you'd bear me a grudge all my life for that.
Hang it, I'm not such a cad as you make out.
You wouldn't be able to help it. It mostly happens that road. Look at old Mrs. Eastwood. Hers was a case like ours. Old Joe Eastwood's father made them wed, and she's been separated from him these 30 years, living all alone in that big house at Valley Edge. Got any amount of brass she has, but she's so lonesome like. She does her own housework for the sake of something to occupy her time. The tradesfolk catch her washing the front steps. You don't find me making a mess of my life like that.
Look here, Fanny. I promise I'll treat you fair all the time. You don't need to worry that folk will look down on you. You'll have too much money for that.
I can manage all right on 25 bob a week.
Happen you can. It's not the brass altogether. You do like me as well, don't you?
Have you only just thought of that part of the bargain?
No, don't be silly. I thought of it long ago. You do like me. You wouldn't have gone to Llandudno with me if you hadn't liked me.
Oh, yes, I liked you.
And don't you like me now?
You're a nice, clean, well-made lad. Oh, I like you, right enough.
Then, Fanny, for God's sake, marry me and let's get this job settled.
Not me.
But you must. Don't you see it's your duty to?
Come now, you aren't going to stop preaching to me.
No, I don't mean duty in the way Beatrice did. I mean your duty to me. You've got me into a hole, and it's only fair you should get me out.
I like your cheek.
But just look here. I'm going to fall between two stools. It's all up with Beatrice, of course, and if you won't have me, I shall have parted from her to no purpose. Besides getting kicked out of the house by my father, more than likely.
Nay, nay. He'll not punish you for this. He doesn't know it's your fault I'm not willing to wed you.
He may. It's not fair, but it would be father all over to do that.
He'll be only too pleased to get shut of me without eating his own words. He'll forgive you on the spot, and you can make it up with Beatrice tomorrow.
I can never make it up with Bea.
Get away.
You don't understand a girl like Bea. I couldn't even think of trying for months, and then it may be too late. I'm not the only pebble on the beach, and I'm a damaged one at that.
She's fond of you, you said?
Yes, I think she's very fond of me.
Then she'll make it up in a fortnight.
You said you were fond of me once, and it hasn't taken you long to alter.
All women aren't built alike. Beatrice is religious. She'll be sorry for you. I was fond of you in a way.
But didn't you ever really love me?
Love you? Good heavens, of course not. Why on earth should I love you? You were just someone to have a bit of fun with. You were an amusement, a lark.
Fanny, is that all you cared for me?
How much more did you care for me?
But it's not the same. I'm a man.
You're a man and I was your little fancy. Well, I'm a woman and you were my little fancy. You wouldn't prevent a woman enjoying herself as well as a man if she takes it into her head.
Do you mean to say that you didn't care any more for me than a fellow cares for any girl he happens to pick up?
Yes. Are you shocked?
It's a bit thick. It is, really.
You're a beauty to talk.
It sounds so jolly immoral. I never thought of a girl looking on a chap just like that. I made sure you wanted to marry me if you got the chance.
No fear. You're not good enough for me. The chap Fanny Hawthorn weds has got to be made of a different stuff from you, my lad. My husband, if ever I have one, will be a man, not a fellow who will throw over his girl at his father's bidding. Strikes me the sons of these rich manufacturers are all much alike. They seem a bit weak in the upper story. It's their father's brass that's too much for them, happen. They don't know how to spend it properly. They're like chaps who can't carry their drink because they aren't used to it. The brass gets into their heads like.
Hang it, Fanny, I'm not quite a fool.
No, you're not a fool altogether, but there's a somewhat lacking. You're not man enough for me. You're a nice lad, and I'm fond of you. We've had a right good time together, and no mistake, we've enjoyed ourselves proper. But all good times have to come to an end, and ours is over now. Come along now and bid me farewell.
I can't make you out rightly, Fanny, but you're a damn good sport, and I wish there were more like you.
Goodbye, old lad.
Goodbye, Fanny, and good luck.
Well, what's it to be? Come on, what's it to be? You, Fanny, have you come to your senses?
I've never left them, so far as I know.
Are you going to wed our Alan or are you not?
I'm not.
It's no good, Father. I can't help it. I've done all I can. She won't have me.
I'm beat this time. I'll wash my hands of it. There's no fathoming a woman. These are the creatures that want us to give them votes.
Do you mean to tell us that you're throwing away a chance like this?
You've heard.
Huh? I call it wicked, I do, indeed. I can see you are downright bad, through and through. There's one thing I tell you straight, our house is no place for thee after this.
You're not really angry with me because of what I've done. It's because I'm not going to have any of Mr. Jeffcote's money that you want to turn me out of the house.
It's not. It's because you choose to be a girl who's lost her reputation, instead of letting Alan make you into an honest woman.
How can he do that?
By wedding you, of course.
You called him a blackguard this morning.
Hey?
So he is a blackguard.
I don't see how marrying a blackguard is going to turn me into an honest woman.
If he marries you, we won't be a blackguard any longer.
Then it looks as if I'm asked to wed him to turn him into an honest man.
It's no use banding words about what's over and done with. I want to know what's all this talk of turning Fanny out of doors.
Oh, take no heed of that. Me missus don't rightly know what she's talking about right now.
Don't she? You're making a big mistake. If you think that, Fanny can go home, fetch her things, and after that she can pack off.
That she'll not.
Oh, then I'll make it so hot for thee and for her in the house, and you too, that you'll be glad to see the back of her.
Hasn't got anything to do with Mr. and Mrs. Jeffcote, has it?
It's got something to do with me, though. I'm not going to see you without a home.
It's right good of you, Alan, but I shan't starve. I'm not without a trade at my fingertips, thou knows. I'm a Lancashire lass, and so long as there's weaving sheds in Lancashire, I shall earn enough brass to keep me going. I wouldn't live at home again after this, not anyhow. I'm going to be on my own in future. Oh, now, Father, you've no call to be afraid. I'm not going to disgrace you. But so long as I've to live my own life, I don't see why I shouldn't choose what it's to be.
We're in the road here. Come, Sarah.
I'm sorry, Chris. I've done my best for thee.
Aye, I know. I'm grateful to thee not.
Good night.
Good night.
Goodbye, Fanny Hawthorn. And if ever you need any help, come see me.
Ah, you didn't want us to wed?
No.
You were straight enough.
I'm sure this is the best way out. I couldn't see any hope any other way.
Good night.
I'm just running round to Farrar's.
To Farrar's?
To see Beatrice.
You're going to ask her to marry you?
But I am.
Well, I'm damned. It's not rent she'll have thee.
That remains to be seen.
Huh. Well, if Beatrice Farrar can fancy thee, it's not for me to be too particular.
Thank you, Father.
Oh, get along. I'm disgusted with thee.
Beatrice will have him.
How do you know that?
She loves him. She told me.
Well, there's no accounting for tastes. So Beatrice loves him, does she? But women are queer folk. I mean, who'd have thought that Fanny would refuse to wed him?
It is strange. It makes you feel there is something in Providence after all.